Hey guys, it's been a while. Cockapunk here, and coming with another installment on the Old Guns Tour list. I got probably the rarest gun that I've had the privilege of owning. The only gun that might actually qualify as rarer would be my old SHO sniper. But this one is even more rare. Its history is a little interesting. It is actually called a Boston Paintball Reflex autococker. So, she's an ugly one. But the interesting thing about this gun, and I'll link you to, there's a guy who has a shooting video and some other informational videos about this gun. I'll link those in the info bar there. This gun, Boston Paintball, so the Automag RT came out in 1996, and there was kind of a push in certain circles that if Automags could do it, why can't autocockers? So Boston Paintball kind of took this philosophy, and they made this guy. This is a Reflex kit, and it is essentially an RT kit for an autococker. So it has a response trigger. Now, an interesting tidbit is this response trigger design is actually pretty closely related to the Tippmann design. So whereas in an RT, let's see if I can grab my RT for you guys. In an RT Automag, the reason for the RT is basically a side effect of making the gun faster than a classic valve. It just means that there's a lot of pressure pushing down on the on-off pin during the cycle, and so it tends to. It's just kind of a side effect. So this is the on-off, and this pin here, air pushes on it from up here, and that's what gives your RT. So it's basically just a side effect of making this gun so much faster than a normal Automag. Whereas this thing is a custom built, it has a piston in the grip frame, response trigger, and so it's also like the Tippmann RT where you can just sweet spot it and just go whereas only under certain circumstances can you sweet spot an RT Automag. They can be made one shot, one pull relatively easily with no sweet spot and nothing like that. But the Tippmann RT and this RT can basically be made full auto. It's actually hard to make them legal. So the way this thing, that's why there's so few of these. There's only about a dozen of these floating around that were ever completed because they were instantly made illegal by every tournament nationwide because it's a full auto autococker. And so what this basically is we have a normal three-way from an autococker, a normal LPR from an autococker, and then this extended long ram. This is the ram. It's extra long because the bolt stroke back here is extra long, which means it has an extra long timing rod too. And so, and it has here's an amusing anecdote. It also has one of the first ever jam bolts. You know, in the Angel video I was talking about spring-loaded bolts. This has one of the first spring-loaded bolts the same way, as an anti-chop feature. This was basically to try and slow the gun down, because the gun is just too fast if the bolt only travels as far as it needs to go. And it was in the days before force-feed loaders, so you didn't really have to worry about rollback the same way we do today. But, so what happens is basically, the three-way is also attached to, basically this is another three-way, and it's mounted, its little trigger rod is right here. And so what happens is, when we turn the RT on, which this is the RT off, you can turn it on right there. When we turn on the RT, air flows into here, and you can see that when the trigger is forward and when the back block is forward, this little flange here pushes that thing forward. So when I pull the trigger and I fire the gun, obviously the three-way timing wants to kick the back block back, and as the back block comes back, it pulls on that secondary three-way. Now that secondary three-way activates and pushes air through here, through there, and into the grip frame, into this piston. And that piston has the effect of pushing my finger out. And so what happens is the back block then comes forward, and this whole time this has been held backwards, so there's still force pushing my finger forward until it closes, and then it turns off. So it's a pretty ingenious little system. It reminds me of the auto trigger on a sniper. It's a pretty ingenious little system, and you can see how it's so incredibly blatantly illegal, because you can just turn this baby up and she just full autos. And it's fast. It's plenty quick. So, and they're a rare one. And the reason why they're so rare is because they just weren't made, because as soon as people heard about them and shot them, they were just like, yeah, that's just blatantly cheating. So, that's kind of the history on that guy. Boston Paintball also did stuff like the twister milling and some other autococker stuff in the late 90s. This gun originally came on, see, it's on a right feed body right now. It originally came on a left feed body, which is another rarity. You don't see very many left feed cockers, because they again, didn't make very many of them. Unfortunately, the valve retaining nut in the gun, in the body, was busted, so I had to buy a new body for it. So I bought this right feed body. But anyway, you can tell that the grip here, this is the back of the ram, the grip's a beast, because it has that ram in it, and it's just a blast to shoot. And like I said, only about a dozen of them ever made. It really, it's really interesting to see the design of the autococker pushed into the RT spectrum, because it really is a fascinating little machine from a lot of different standpoints. Mine currently is not fully working because I ran out of compressed air to get the three-way to stop leaking. But anyway, I already have sold this gun, so sadly, unfortunately, I need the money because I'm broke. But yeah, it's a pretty spectacular little shooter. Obviously, one of the rarest pieces in my collection. Well, no longer in my collection, but one of the rarest guns I've had the pleasure of owning, and it's a fun one. So if you ever get a chance to see, you know, a front block like this, I definitely recommend picking it up and shooting it, because it's a pretty bizarre little gun. Yeah, so hope you guys having a good one. My semester's almost over, thank God, and we'll get down to doing some high-speed stuff in Punkworks. We're like a week away from being able to buy that camera. So if you have any quick last-minute donations, $10, $5, $25, whatever you can give, Punkworks Paintball at gmail.com is the address. I'll stick that in the info bar too. So thanks a bunch for all your support, and that was the Reflex kit. So talk to you guys later.